Some 600,000 years ago, early humans started arriving in the area we now call Germany, but detailed knowledge of this time is scarce. Later in the Late Bronze Age, the Celts became the dominant culture here. They lived in large communities and traded with other regions. But as time went on, new groups appeared on the scene.
That's right. Around 700 BCE, the Germanic tribes began to replace the Celts, coming from Scandinavia and northern Germany. They were known for their skills in battle and moved into the lands where the Celts once thrived. These tribes caught the attention of the Romans, especially Julius Caesar, who was a military leader with grand ambitions. He is famous for conquering Gaul, which is present-day France, and this brought him into direct contact with the Germanic peoples.
Rome named the land across the Rhine River as Germania, marking it as the outer edge of their empire. The Rhine served as a boundary for the Romans, who built forts and towns along it. The Romans and Germanic tribes began to interact, trading goods and sometimes clashing in battles. These initial contacts set the stage for relations that would last centuries. Roads and towns grew, and ideas began to flow even across these cultural barriers.
Yes, but not all of these interactions were peaceful. In 9 AD, the Roman general Varus led his legions into the Teutoburg forest, where they faced a crushing defeat, as we heard before. Arminius, using his unique insight as a Roman-raised Germanic, orchestrated this victory. It was not just a battle, but a turning point. The Romans stopped trying to conquer Germania beyond the Rhine. This moment in history was crucial, showing the strength and unity of the Germanic tribes.
The story of the Germanic tribes is full of great movements and shifts. After the Romans tried but failed to conquer Germania, these tribes began to see Roman lands as new opportunities. No longer were they just defending, they started to move into Roman territories. This movement was both aggressive and peaceful, as the tribes found ways to enter and settle in Roman lands. The Visigoths, for instance, played a huge part in changing the Roman landscape.
Absolutely. The Visigoths were one of those tribes that pushed into the Roman world. In 410 AD, they did something that was unthinkable before. They sacked Rome. This act marked a key moment in history, signaling a shift in power. The once unstoppable Roman Empire was starting to crack. With each incursion, the Germanic tribes were influenced by Roman culture. It's interesting to see how they absorbed and transformed these influences into something uniquely their own, even adopting Christianity.
As the Roman Empire weakened, new powers rose from these Germanic tribes. The Franks were one of them. Starting as a small group of tribes, they grew to be a dominant force in Europe. By 500 AD, under the leadership of King Clovis, they controlled much of what was once Roman Gaul. This growth marked the birth of the Merovingian dynasty, famous for their strength and ability to forge a central power. Clovis himself converted to Christianity, securing the Pope's support.
The rise of the Frankish Empire under Clovis set the stage for future expansion. His dynasty, the Merovingians, ruled for over 200 years, extending their influence widely. But it was Charlemagne, a later leader in this line, who really changed the game. He aimed to unify the scattered territories under one central rule. Through battles and strategic alliances, Charlemagne became the leader of a large realm in Eastern Europe, even being crowned as Imperator Romanorum. This title connected him with the prestige of Rome.
Charlemagne's crowning as Imperator Romanorum by the Pope wasn't just a grand title. It was a symbol of his vision to revive the Roman legacy in Europe. This ambition came with challenges, yet it was crucial for the foundation of what came to be known as the Holy Roman Empire. This empire was built on a blend of Roman tradition, Christian values, and Germanic culture. Charlemagne's reign was marked by new laws, educational reforms, and cultural advances.
Indeed, the foundation of the Holy Roman Empire was a significant turn in European history. It wasn't just about power, but about unifying diverse lands under a central idea of leadership. This empire played a critical role in shaping European politics and identity for centuries. The Holy Roman Empire, despite its flaws and challenges, was a defining period, setting a precedent for state building and providing a framework on which future European states would develop.
In our last talk, we saw how the Holy Roman Empire formed and its importance. Today, let's dig into how the empire tried to control the papacy. The emperors wanted to have a say in who became the pope. They thought this would give them more power over the church's influence. But this led to many problems and conflicts. People were not happy, and it caused a lot of fighting and disagreements within the empire.
Indeed. This ongoing conflict led to the Concordat of Worms in 1122. This was a big agreement between the emperor and the church. It said that the church would have its own power to elect the pope without the emperor's influence. This decision was important as it stopped the emperor from getting too powerful. But it also sparked a civil war within the empire because people had different beliefs about who should hold more power, the emperor or the church.
The Civil War had a big impact on the empire. It weakened the emperor's power and made it hard to keep control over all parts of the land. This struggle showed how fragile the balance of power could be. Then came the Battle of Legnano, where Emperor Frederick Barbarossa faced defeat by a group of Italians. This battle showed just how challenging it was to maintain control over so many different areas and people.
Absolutely. And after that defeat, the empire faced even more challenges. The Black Death Plague in the 14th century wiped out nearly half of the population. It was a time of suffering and fear. With so many people gone, power shifted to new places. City-states and trade groups began to gain more influence. This change led to different ways of leading and more freedom for towns to run their own affairs, focusing more on trade and local matters.
Out of this change, interesting new contributions arose, like the printing press. Johannes Gutenberg from Mainz was a key figure in this development. Thanks to his invention, books were printed quickly and more easily than ever before. This was revolutionary at the time. It allowed for the spread of new ideas and knowledge to many people across Europe. It didn't take long for this new technology to change everything from education to religion.
The impact of the printing press was indeed vast. Before Gutenberg, books had to be written by hand, which was slow and costly. His invention made access to information cheap and fast. One of the first books printed was the Bible, which allowed more people to read and understand it themselves. This led to questions about the church's teachings and practices, planting seeds for reforms that would come later.
In our last chapter, we talked about the printing press and its importance in spreading new ideas quickly. This brings us to a key figure, Martin Luther. In 1517, Luther posted his 95 Theses on a church door in Wittenberg. He raised questions about the Catholic Church's practices and wanted to reform them. His actions started a big wave of change, not just in religion but across all parts of life. Luther's ideas spread fast thanks to the printing press.
Indeed, Luther's actions led to major religious change. Many people started to follow his ideas, which caused tension. This was a big deal because at the time, most people followed the Catholic Church. As these new ideas spread, Europe was pulled into long religious conflicts. One of the biggest was the 30 Years' War, which started in 1618. This conflict was between Protestants and Catholics and had a huge impact on Europe.
The 30 Years' War was a devastating time for many. It lasted until 1648 and involved many European countries. The war caused much destruction, and people wanted peace. This came with the Peace of Westphalia, which ended the war. An important point here was the agreement to respect religious differences, making Europe a more diverse place religiously. It allowed people to choose their own faith, leading to what we now know as religious pluralism, and was a step towards modern Europe.
With the Peace of Westphalia, Europe started to change. New countries and powers emerged, and one of the significant ones was Prussia. Prussia was a Protestant state focused heavily on building a strong military. It became powerful and sought to expand its influence. But as it grew, Prussia also found itself in rivalry with Austria, a major Catholic power. This rivalry would shape much of the future political landscape in Germany.
After the Peace of Westphalia, Prussia really made its mark. Frederick the Great led with something called Enlightened Absolutism. While he was strict, he loved the arts and sciences. He believed in letting smart people do their thing. This made Prussia a center for ideas and culture in Europe. Frederick's rule showed that a leader could both be firm and support learning at the same time.
That's right. This time in Prussia helped many great talents shine. For example, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe wrote amazing poems and plays. His work still affects us today. And then there was Johann Sebastian Bach, whose music is loved around the world. Together, they represent the rich cultural gifts that Prussia, under Frederick, gave to the world. Prussia wasn't just strong in war, but also in culture.
Let's talk about Otto von Bismarck now. He's a key figure who helped bring Germany together. Through a mix of tricky politics and smart thinking, Bismarck got different German areas to join as one. His leadership in wars against Denmark, Austria, and France was crucial for unifying these regions. By 1871, the German Empire was born. This new Germany was strong and ready to play a big role in Europe's future.
The birth of the German Empire marked a major turning point for Germany. Now united, Germany had more power, but with that came challenges. Other European countries watched closely, worried about this new, powerful neighbor. Germany's growth changed the balance in Europe. Bismarck's work set the stage for many new opportunities and challenges for the young nation and its neighbors.
As Germany unified and began its powerful journey as a new empire, the onset of the First World War marked a dramatic step. Germany, backed by its alliances, initially made impressive advances. The military strategies and initial victories gave it hope, but soon the war grew challenging. The Western Front turned into a scene of struggle, with long trench warfare causing great loss and hardship. It was a time of heavy fighting with no clear winner in sight.
Indeed, everything changed when the United States joined the war in 1917. Their fresh forces turned the tide against the Central Powers, including Germany. President Wilson hoped for a fair peace, but the Allies, mainly Britain and France, had other ideas. They wanted to ensure Germany would never threaten them again. The peace terms were harsh, leading to the Treaty of Versailles. This treaty demanded much from Germany, leaving it in a weakened state and setting the stage for future troubles.
The Treaty of Versailles required Germany to give up land, pay heavy reparations, and face many restrictions. These terms were crushing and left the nation in turmoil. The Weimar Republic, which came next, struggled to manage the country's problems. Economic troubles and social unrest marked this period. Every decision felt like a challenge. The new government found itself blamed for all the country's woes, even though it was not responsible for starting the war or the harsh treaty terms.
Adding to these troubles was the global depression of the late 1920s. It hit Germany hard, worsening the already fragile economy. Jobs were lost, and people became desperate. In this environment, extreme ideas flourished. Many looked for strong leaders who promised change, even if their promises came at a high cost. This desperate search for solutions led to major shifts in politics and society, paving the way for the rise of new, more troubling forces. Germany has shown great resilience and made huge cultural contributions to the world. Be it art, philosophy, or technology, Germany's impact is everywhere. We invite our listeners to dive deeper into this rich history and see how it influences our modern world. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more episodes. Your support helps us keep exploring these fascinating histories. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.